We'll have a moment of silence. Sue, would you lead in the pledge?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mayor Dyak is excused. Vice Mayor Kojin?
Here.
Councilor Leitner?
Here.
Councilor Yank?
Here.
Councilor Lee?
Here.
Councilor Augie?
Here.
Councilor Carey?
Here.
First item of business is discussion of possible action by the City Council pertaining to City Council strategic priorities. Anybody have anything they want to bring up? Next item is discussion of possible action by the City Council pertaining to the City Council's individual priorities. Anybody have anything you want? Moving on, minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second. Motion is second. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Minutes approved. Next item is the consent portion of the agenda. The consent portion of the agenda is a means of expediting routine matters. All items approved will be done by one undebatable motion passed unanimously. Any item may be removed for debate on the request of a council member. Item removed from the council portion or the consent portion of the agenda become the first item of business on the regular agenda.
Move to approve the consent portion of the agenda.
Second.
We moved in second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item is public hearings. We have one public hearing, Series 12 restaurant liquor license application for with growler privileges from Kimberly Amelia Lindhart, doing business as Lake LP Espresso.
Move to open the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, open this public hearing. Say aye.
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 We're now open to the public. Anyone wants to say anything about that particular liquor license?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Public hearing is closed. Thank you. Next portion is the mayor's reports. And since he's not here, we'll skip that and go straight to the city manager's report.
Hearing from the citizens, sir?
What?
Hearing from the citizens?
Oh, man, we have to do that? Okay, fine.
Okay.
We're going to back up and go to hearing from the
Okay,
citizens.
gosh, put the brakes on.
You're almost there.
Members of the public may address the city council on matters that are not listed on the city council agenda. City council cannot discuss or take legal action on any matter that is not during this call to the public. Unless matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action, at the conclusion of the call to the public, individual members of the council may respond to criticism made by those who address the council, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. Is anyone in the public who'd like to speak tonight? Okay, thank you.
Love it.
All right. Now we can have the city manager's report.
Okay, now I'm not ready. I was all worked up. Actually, I don't have a whole lot since you're zipping right through this thing. I just want to bring the council up to speed on a few things that you're going to see in the future. Staff is working on some pretty large grants. Zach, Kyle, Josh, myself, Raina, Greg, they range anywhere from about $250,000 up to $10 million. There's about 3 or 4 of them that we're spending a lot of time on. So these are projects that were a priority not only for council but for staff as well. So we're chasing some money to see if we can't can't save the city taxpayers a little cash and get it out of federal and state. So those will be coming to you as soon as probably next month. You'll start seeing some of those. So those will be in the form of requests for supports and proclamations. So
Okay,
if you have any questions, come see me.
thank you.
Yep.
Next item is boards and commissions. Discussion by the city council pertaining to reports from board liaisons. Any board liaisons have a report?
Parks and Rec Board met this Monday, and they have voted to focus and move forward with Elm Street Park improvements for the 21-22 fiscal year. At some point, we should be seeing plans and ideas from them. And we do have a Grandview dedication ceremony scheduled for October 22nd, and I believe that is at 4:30. Lena Fowler, Supervisor Lena Fowler, will be present for that. Soccer is ending this week. Basketball signups are also ending this week, and basketball starts at the end of next week.
Thank you. Nothing?
Next week for PUE meeting.
Next 2 weeks, actually, for our EADB meeting.
And next month for substance abuse.
Okay, that brings up Brian.
Planning and zoning met last week. It was a simple agenda, and it just has one item which has popped over into our agenda tonight, so I'll defer discussion of that. So I think Zach will give a recap on that.
Okay, thank you. First item the only item under unfinished business is discussion of possible action by the city council pertaining to the One Arizona distribution of opioid settlement funds agreement. Josh.
You may recall this came before you several months ago. Basically, with all of the lawsuits suing the the Purdue family or whatever it was that had with the opioids and the medications and whatnot, what they're trying to do is trying to work settlement agreements with the state so that they don't keep getting sued after they settle with one. They kind of want to wrap everything up, and so the state is encouraging us as one to all agree to one settlement agreement for the state and how the monies would be distributed. You previously approved this, but apparently they made some changes. They didn't really identify specifically what those changes are, but they said that they had made a few changes from the last time that you guys had reviewed it. And staff is recommending that you just approve this one. The only way that it would make sense to not approve this settlement is if we wanted to pursue our own lawsuit, which is not really feasible. So I would recommend that we go ahead and just approve this one and move forward.
Move to approve the One Arizona distribution of opioid settlement fund agreement and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. The first item under new business is a presentation by the Coconino County Sheriff Driscoll pertaining to the Page Detention Facility expansion. Thank you. Thank you for the nice tour today. That was nice.
Too bad you let him out. Too bad you let him out.
I'm glad you were there. Yes. Vice Mayor, members of the council, we appreciate this opportunity to come up and I guess celebrate and share what we've been able to do over this past year. And before I get into that, I would like to introduce part of my staff here. I think many of you know Chief Deputy Brett Axeland with our department. Next to him is Lieutenant Seth Cutchin, who's our district supervisor up here. And next to him is Commander Kathy Allen, who commands our support services for the Sheriff's Office. And they were all very instrumental in helping to develop this and to bring this construction to fruition. And as I mentioned, I'm certainly glad that some of you were able to attend that as well. Years ago, when we first came to Page and built the current jail was the year 2000. And at that time, we were a new jail district, a newly formed jail district, and we had built a large jail in Flagstaff, and we wanted to build a larger facility here in the Page community. And we didn't have enough funding to do that. And it's only taken 21 years for us to be able to reach that point where we financially were able to do that. So what we were able to accomplish with a lot of people's help was to, I think, there we go, is to build what we wanted to originally build and expand it out to what it is today. It is still a 48-bed facility, and not that we would ever house 48 inmates in it, but it does have that capacity to hold a larger number of inmates. But it is a short-term holding. It is designed only to hold inmates for 72 hours. And that's that for that initial appearance, and then if a judge holds them, they would be then transported down to Flagstaff, where services would also become available to those inmates as well. So we did not have the capability, and for some time would not have any capability to establish services up here in the Page community. We began construction in November of 2020, so we're approaching that year mark. And when we initially looked at this project at $3.5 million and began construction, we had a number of change orders throughout, I think like all of us do with construction projects. And we ended up spending $4.2 million. And we also had, during this process, it took a little longer than we liked, and we all faced the COVID issue that we had to deal with, and we still face that today. But it did slow things down somewhat during that construction process. Again, it took just under a year to make this happen. You can see from the aerial progression of photos throughout that year that pretty extensive build out. We almost doubled the size of the previous facility, and we've added a lot of enhancements, which I'll get to in just a minute. But we're now able to provide a dedicated video courtroom. Before, we were using a jail cell, and we established a camera and a monitor in there and actually conducted video court inside of a jail cell, which was less than ideal. It was not very secure. Although it was in a jail cell, it didn't provide opportunities for attorneys or necessarily what was needed for inmates to receive the services that they needed through the courts. We were also able to construct a training and conference room, which was sorely needed. And if you get the opportunity and have not seen it or been there, we would love to give you a tour. I know several of you were there today and able to go through it, but we're very proud of this facility, and we think it will serve our needs as well as the community's needs for a number of years to come. We were able to add a little bit more parking and a little bit more office space because we were really essentially crammed in that older facility because we were not able to build it out like we initially wanted to in 2000. Security enhancements that we were able to establish include an enclosed secure sally port. This is where inmates or prisoners are brought when they're arrested, and it is now covered and secure. It is safer for the inmates as well as safer for those officers who are bringing inmates to book into the facility. We also have perimeter fencing, which we did not have before. Again, more security enhancements, which makes the entire process safer throughout our community. We also have additional cameras around the facility. As we expanded it, we added more cameras, so we have more video of what is occurring around the facility. And then I mentioned the courtroom earlier, but we're much more secure. We have a room that is dedicated just to that operation, and we're able to modify it as we need to in the future. We received our certificate of occupancy on October 1st. There's still a few minor things that we have not quite finished yet with the construction company, but we hope to have those completed by the end of October. During this process, and again, almost a year, there were certain economic benefits that came in. When over 100 workers are here to provide services and labor for this, that certainly has an impact on the economy of this community. And we hope that that's certainly been beneficial with motel rooms and meals and things like that. But we also see a higher level of safety and security around that detention facility. Most communities are not fond of their jails. They view them as a potential necessary evil. But a jail is something that's designed to help and support and keep a community safe by holding people who are not safe in a community, by holding them in that facility. And that's what we hope to be able to do with these security enhancements. And I think one of the things that we don't talk about a great deal is that this was funded through the jail district. As I mentioned, back in 1996, a jail district was formed in Coconino County. That included everything in Coconino County, and it was done through an excise tax, not a property tax. So as we see tourists come into our communities throughout Coconino County, they're helping to pay for our jail. It's not just our residents, it's not just our people who live in Coconino County, but everyone who comes through Coconino County contributes to that jail tax that helps fund projects such as this. That's what built the jail initially. It's what built the jail that we have in Flagstaff. And again, it is much more, I think, appropriate to have that funded that way than through a property tax, which many jails are funded through a property tax on our residents, and that's just not a good way to go. These are the thank yous that I want to give. Our Board of Supervisors was great, very supportive. Our board also serves as the board of directors for our jail district. So they have the fiscal oversight of this project as well. But the manager's office was very good and supportive in what we did. Throughout the process, we talked with Mayor Dyack. I know the mayor very well and had the opportunity to discuss things before we even started the project earlier on. Tim Kinney Construction Services. He was the vendor or contractor who was selected to do this. We had the opportunity to have his people here today, the project managers and superintendents, and to acknowledge them, but they were really great to work with, and we appreciate all their efforts. And again, we didn't have the president here, but we had Dan Flint and Santoro and a couple others there from Kinney Construction here to help us kind of manage our ribbon cutting ceremony this afternoon. And Dallas Lilly, and I sent Dallas home early today. Dallas has been our project manager for the last year, and he has lived and breathed this project, so I sent him home early to be with his family tonight. Otherwise, he would be here as well. But I want to tell you, we are very proud of this facility. We think it will be a huge benefit to the safety and security of the Page community, as well as a benefit to the officers from all the agencies who book people into that facility. So with that, if you have any questions, we will certainly try to answer them. And if I don't have the answer, I hope I have enough people here who can answer any questions you may have. But thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
You're going to let me off easy.
Yeah, I have one question. On when you do an input of a prisoner or whatever into the jail, how is that improved over the previous way or facilities that you had?
Certainly, a great question. The older facility had an uncovered, gated, what we call sally port. The elements, people could see what was going on. People who were not on, who were off-site could watch. That's a security issue. They could see who was arrested. They could see the officers involved. This is now an enclosed, they drive through a secure fence, they'll press the button and talk to the person inside via controlled access allowed in, then brought into a covered, doored sally port where nobody can see anything. If the inmate or the arrestee were to have an issue, whether it's a medical issue, whether an attempted escape, they can't get out. We have a perimeter fence that would stop, as well as that door-controlled sally port where they can't get out. And throughout the years that I've worked for the sheriff's office, that's generally where you have problems. If somebody is going to attempt to make an escape, that's the place. And so it's security, the security is enhanced greatly.
Yeah, the reason I asked, I believe there was an officer just was killed down in Phoenix.
Yes.
And during that same process?
Yes. And I can't get into too many details. In fact, I spoke with Sheriff Penzone last night about some of that exact thing. Can't get into too many details, but that guy was able to get the officer's backup weapon away from him. And that potentially started that. And more of that will come out over time. But there were probably some errors or mistakes that would have been made there.
Sure.
And but we, having that sally port just gives us, when a person is arrested and brought into that facility, the officer can take their firearm, put it in a gun locker before they even get the inmate out of the car. That prevents exactly that kind of thing from occurring.
Okay, thank you.
So, not to be critical of what happened in Phoenix, because I don't have all the details, but that's what it's designed to do, make it safer for the arresting officers. All right.
Thank you very much.
Well, thank you all.
Thanks, Sheriff.
Appreciate
Thank you.
We're happy to get you out of here on time to get home tonight.
it. We appreciate that too.
Drive carefully.
Okay. Clear out. Okay, next item is discussion, possible action by the city council pertaining to the site plan amendment to number 21-09, 21-009 whatever, Mastercraft site plan. Who's that?
That'd be me. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Before you this evening is a unique request. You don't typically review or approve site plans, but this is unique in that it is a site plan that is located in a PD zoning district, and any major amendments to the site plan require Planning and Zoning Commission and City Council review and approval. And before you this evening is the Mastercraft Lake Powell business, who is desirous of adding 2 additional indoor boat storage buildings to their existing site, and that constitutes a major plan amendment. The Site Plan Review Committee did a series of plan reviews to get to the final approved site plan, where it complies with all of the zoning and development, building and codes